My name is Fredrik Ring, and I work since 4 years at Tieto. We are the biggest IT services company in the Nordics, but we're not only in the Nordics. At current, we are in 20 countries, and there are some stuff that very few people knows. We are global #1 in software in the forest industry, and we are leading in healthcare and welfare in the Nordics. We are actually the #1 in the carbon footprint software for oil industry. So we have our kind of big market in the Nordics, and then we have niche areas where we are really globally leading, so we need an organization that is covering the whole world, basically. And we are going through some exciting times right now. What we see is that the IT industry has been very much about cost cutting. For the last 10-15 years, cost cutting has been cost cutting of IT. It's about operating ERP systems and desktops and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, something happened. So our customers started to ask us, how can we use IT in order to reach new customer segments, in order to get into new markets? How can we use IT in order to create new products and services and differentiate our business? How can we use IT in order to create completely new business models and develop our business? So all of a sudden we saw, and many times it was not the IT manager that asked those questions, but actually the CEO or the business managers or other parts of the business. So we had a completely different audience to speak to with completely different questions. And this started to happen some years ago, and so we've been since a year or so we've been starting to look at our business. We see the journey that we and all our customers is going through, going from the traditional business, the traditional city, to the new business, the new digital business. And we have our traditional services very much targeting efficiency and industrialization and cost savings and all of that. And then we have investing heavily for a number of years, developing the new stuff, helping our customers to create the strategy for the digital business, helping our customers to develop the digital platform, the digital products, helping them to use the data they have in order to develop new digital business. We see clearly that what the significant for what happened right now is that we don't really know what's happening right now. We need to try a lot of different things. We don't know, what will blockchain be in financial sector? What will blockchain mean for forestry? How will artificial intelligence change the way we work in the insurance? There's a lot of stuff and we don't really know the outcome. And if we put that into Tieto's traditional business, we will close it down within 6 months because it's not profitable enough. So what we see is that we need to operate the traditional business, streamline, efficiency, high security, business continuity, and then the new digital business in a new way. But we have a lot of assets. We are the biggest IT service company in the Nordic. We have a lot of customers. We have great expertise in like forest, healthcare, credit card management and stuff like that. So we have a lot of good people. We have a lot of data. All of these things are assets that we have. So what we think is that we need to operate the new digital business in a new way, but leveraging the assets that we have. A couple of years ago, we started 3 startups, one around customer experience, one around IoT, industrial internet, and one around healthcare and welfare. So now we're taking this to the next level. Now we have started an incubator/accelerator in Tieto. So this is a factory to develop new businesses, new startups. And this is sort of at the highest level in Tieto, and this is our most important investment area today. So a business accelerator. This is what I will talk a bit more about today. And this is because we think we need to try between 20 and 40 different things in order to succeed with 4, 5, 6 of them. So we need to get into a new mode of operation. And I can, but just to give you some glimpse of the reality, 2 weeks ago, I spent a couple of days in a rainy forest in Sweden. So first we went out to basically work together with the forest machine operators, cutting down trees. Because they use our software in their machines when they select what tree to cut and so on. So we spoke with them about, how does things work, and they had some ideas on improvement. So we're thinking about this. Why don't we send up drones in the forest, creating models about of the part of the forest that they're going to cut down, and then we take in supply chain data about, packaging company wants to buy this thing, and the sawmill wants to buy, and the paper companies want to buy, and then the energy companies want to buy, so that we can immediately start analyzing the wood and give instruction to the operators, what they should cut where. That way we could connect the buyer side with the forest owner side and make this supply chain more efficient. And today, each forest owner works with 1 or 2 sawmills, a logistics company. What if we create an e-commerce solution where we connect all of the forest owner with all of the sawmills and packaging companies and paper companies to enable free trade in the forest community? What kind of efficiency gains would there be if we did something like that? There is another thing that happened. We went into a sawmill, and the first thing that happened was that there was this lady sitting on a chair and looked at 3 video screens, and on this video screen came trees. And then she had like a panel, she could press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the quality of the wood. And this determines what the forest owner will get paid. So there is something called artificial intelligence. Yeah. So in all of the sawmills in Sweden, there are these people doing that. So why not apply, pattern recognition, picture recognition, artificial intelligence in order to automate that part of the forest workflow? Another kind of business idea. So now we go into the forest to study what kind of startups could we do around the forest industry. And then we're working in healthcare and welfare. Brilliant industry. So one thing is, people, feel great, they are doing well. But what is the risk profile? If you keep on, eating too much or too much stress, what is the risk that you will catch a disease eventually? So one part is basically monitoring how people live in order to be able to predict and foresee potential risk. Another part is, and we're working to get that now in Finland, so there's mega volumes of data in the hospitals. Very often these data are in different, 50, 60 different servers, and nobody's connecting it. So what we try to do now is connecting all of this data and create algorithms in order to make more efficient diagnosis of diseases. So nobody has been able to connect all of that and make intelligence use of it before. And then we're working on home care. One of the biggest challenges for any hospital region is to make it possible for people to stay home as much as possible and go home as quickly as possible. So there we work with sensor technologies and remote monitoring and different kind of analytics software in order to make it safe for people to stay home when they're sick or old. So these are some areas that we're working on now. And this is we're piloting this now, we're putting it into our own office, new office in Helsinki. This is about intelligent buildings. So there are a few different things. When you get into the new office in Tieto office, we will be able to wear badges. So actually you can show, I'm working on a project. So where are my team members? Are they in the room? Are they all over the place? I can send a message to my team members that we need to go there. Or where are my best friends? Is anyone up for a coffee? I could see immediately that, at this floor, there are 3 rooms that are right now not utilized. So let's go in and use these rooms. For the facility management companies today, this is a really tricky business with low margins. They can see that, okay, on floor 3, there are 3 waste bins that are soon full. So we need to go up and empty them. And instead of emptying the waste bins all over the, 5 times a day, they only need to empty the waste bins when it's full, when the sensor on the waste bin tells it's full. And the same with the coffee machine. The coffee machine tells us that within 3 weeks it needs service. So I don't need to go there and service it every week. It tells you when it needs service. And then we have the companies using the real estate, which is the most interesting business case now. So normally, a company like Tieto, huge office, we use about 11% of the office space. 11%. So think about the savings if we can, do with half of the square meters more efficiently by using the office space more efficiently. So these are the kind of business cases now that we work on in smart office and piloting right now. So these are a few examples of different kind of startups and incubation businesses that we are now running. And we are looking at a few areas. We're looking at automation of processes. That is one area where we use artificial intelligence to automate processes. We're looking at customer experience. How can you digitalize customer experience? How can we build the bank where actually each individual have a unique bank, and that design of that bank is designed using advanced analytics to predict the need of this specific person. Then we're looking at products and services. In forest machinery, the future of forest machinery is not to put in a new engine. The future of forest machinery is to combine the forest machine with the software, drones, and satellite images to make the operator more intelligent. That is the new kind of forest machine product. And then we're working on the completely new business models. So will there be an Uber or an Airbnb in the forest business, or in the healthcare business, or in the educational system? What will the new platforms be? So these are sort of important areas that we're spending time on right now. And so there are a few things. We are focusing on data-driven business. So everything is not data-driven business. What we call data-driven business is where things like advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning is the core of the product. It's the core of the value generation in the product. We are also looking at areas where we manage a large amount of data, very often a combination of data from people, mobile phones, and things. So we are able to manage complex connectivity issues. So these are the areas that we are primarily focusing on. And we are not, in data-driven business in Tieto, we are not focusing on doing consulting or large systems integration. We're focusing on building the new types of platform or SaaS services, what we call non-linear business models, in ecosystems, in networks. We are running this incubator and accelerator. Taneli Tikka, who is not here today, I think, because he just became a father. He is running the incubator part, and I'm running the accelerator part. So we have and both of us has been running startups, and we have been active in a lot of boards and incubators, stuff like that. Then we have something called the DDB platform. We'll come back to that, but the DDB platform is, we don't think that every startup we're working with should be full capabilities when it comes to data scientists and advanced analytics. We're building a shared platform that everybody could utilize, basically. And then we have the knowledge and capital of Tieto, which is, of course, money, but we also have customers. We have very, very deep industry skills, relationships, and all of those assets are extremely important to make this succeed. So, yeah, we're working in these phases. First phase is, the ideation phase, and this is something Taneli is responsible for. And then we work in the incubation phase, where we always work together with customers, co-creating the innovations. And then we work in the commercialization phase, which is basically rolling this out large, which is my responsibility area. So pretty standardized ways of working. And already today, we have a pipeline. So we have a pipeline with ideas. Some ideas comes from inside Tieto. Some ideas comes from partners. We're trying now to connect with a lot of incubators. So ideas that other incubators might turn down might have a perfect fit to Tieto. And then we work with prototyping, developing, trying out together with customers, and then we take things into the incubation phase. And this is a view of our platform, a pretty crowded picture. But part of this already exists. It's stuff that we started this journey building the digital platform a couple of years ago, and part of it is now under development. So we bring in the most, first the big players like IBM and Amazon and Microsoft and Google into this platform, but also a lot of niche players. So this is also a place where we welcome partners to participate in being a part of this platform. We think that this advanced analytics market is now a lot of innovation, a lot of things happening. We don't want to jump into bed with one particular company. We want to try this really wide and test different technologies. And so to conclude this, we are empowering data-driven ecosystems. Everything we will do together with customers and partners. And we have a few things. One thing is that we have the capability, the people, the expertise, and the platform to connect people and things and manage huge amount of data. We have the people, the data scientists, and the software and so on, in order to turn data into intelligence. We have processes, we have people like Tunnely and other people that are experienced mentors. They know by birth design thinking and lean innovation and startups. So we have mentors, and we are going to also work together with partners on this side. And then we have the Tieto assets, which is customers, industry insight, and all of our technology capabilities. Thanks.
Maybe you can tell a little bit more about the incubator itself, right? Like we talked a lot about your internal ideas that you got from somewhere, how you took them and made them into companies or startups. Yeah. But what about existing companies and startups? How can they benefit from that? Can they apply and then you will help them, or how does it work exactly?
Yes, basically this goes into Tunnely's inbox and into my inbox. And we work in a bit different ways. You can be a partner. I think most of our startups are built in ecosystem, so it's not necessarily that we go into the kind of financial relationship. So one way is to be a partner. One way is to come and work for Tieto, and we have different options. We have I don't know if you heard about this, but there are phantom equity schemes, so you can actually get the share of the company, or we can get the share of the company. We're also looking into investing in minority shares of companies, and we will also buy companies. So M&A, Tieto is 250 M&As. I've done 2 since I joined Tieto, so we are really used to buying companies. So that's also. So either you're going to close relationship which might end up with an M&A, or it's as a partner leveraging our customer and our technology and skills.
How do you treat the IPRs of these startup companies? Because some of the IPRs may be worth a whole lot, and how do you value that in those transactions? And second question would be, how do you make your dinosaurs go together with these startup as a culture?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the IPR, this depends on the type of relationship. If you're a partner, then everybody has their own IPR, and if we develop something together, then we write the contract how to manage that. And today we are working with customers, so sometimes we go into an agreement with the customer that we develop this IPR, and every time we sell it to another customer, you get the kickback, you get the share of the revenue. So there are different types of arrangement but of course fundamentally at the end of the day, in an ecosystem like this, we want to own a part of the IPR, but not necessarily everything. And I think we will have different roles in different types of collaborations. That is something that we see already today. When it comes to the kind of big dinosaur Tieto, I think we have learned a lot. When Tunneli has been driving industrial internet for Tieto now for a couple of years, and he did a very deep study of the experience. So we've learned some stuff. That's been a good journey, and it's been a bad journey. Of course, it's challenging to work with the dinosaurs. So one of the takeoff is that the DDB is very, very, very independent from Tieto. If we want to bring in another system integration than Tieto, we can do that. If we don't want to use Tieto Cloud, we can do that. If somebody in Tieto want to jump into a startup that we run, they need to do it full time. We don't accept people working part time. So it's a lot of we have learned a lot from. The only way to make it work is we need to leverage the customers and the skills and sometimes the software. But if it gets too many dependencies, then we get slow, and slow is the worst thing you can be in this kind of business. So I hope we have learned. What's good that we started this a couple of years ago, so we have had the first kind of iteration now.
Yes, hi. My company actually works on artificial intelligence in healthcare insurance, not provision. We've actually now managed to close a couple of deals, one with the largest insurer in Asia. Now, so we're not at the incubator stage, but we're definitely not at a later stage. How would a company like ours, for instance, work with Tieto?
I think, of course, healthcare is one of our very outspoken focus areas. And we are right now looking into some exciting opportunities around insurance and IoT. We think that the combination of insurance and IoT will be really interesting. So I'm more than happy to start discussing such cases. I think you don't need to decide to marry a first date. So it's a good thing to live side by side and work in an ecosystem, and eventually maybe an acquisition could be something or not. There could be several scenarios. So extremely interesting. And yes, we have a data platform or several, and we employ data scientists, but we don't have any ambition to know all of this ourselves. So a lot of it will come from our ecosystem of partners.
It's more like a recommendation. We signed a deal with the Tieto SEM organization, and that has been even surprisingly smooth. We have our kind of joint incentives and go-to-market plans, and Tieto is organizing a bunch of webinars to promote our offering to their key customers. So we have been really we have felt positive about this cooperation, and we haven't so far received any money from Tieto, so that's a topic we can talk more about.
Yeah. It's good to hear. SEM was, as I said, one of our first startups, and I know Mikko is managing SEM really well, and it's been a good ride, and it's been a difficult ride. But the momentum is really, really good. I think the challenge that SEM have had, and IoT and a lot of stuff in Tieto, is the same as in general business. That if you get too close to the dinosaur, you might get eaten up. so somehow you need to have the models and in order to keep a bit of distance, but at the same time, use the customers, use the learning, the insight, and make business out of it. That is, but we are doing it a bit different now, with a little bit more independence and a completely different business model. We target to fail with 80% of what we do. So it's really, we need to get disruptive and to do many things in parallel.
All the time you're targeting to fail. But before you start targeting to fail with you, how fast is your process to start to fail with you?
Yeah, I think that we look in the ideation phase is a couple of weeks. If it turns out well, we go into commercialization mode where we invest heavily in go-to-market. That's about the kind of time frames we talk about.
So basically, your platform, basically it should include obviously the data acquisition hardware and software, data transmission hardware and software, and data accumulation software, data processing software, and data analytics software. So basically, is this all that Tieto has done, or basically is this a piecemeal of third-party solutions?
I would put it like this, that we don't have any preference to use Tieto software necessarily. I think Tieto software is great if you go into forest industry, mill management, or carbon footprint oil industry. But if you speak about the kind of generic large-scale machine learning, blah, 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 probably there are better vendors in Tieto doing that. So it's not all Tieto. Right now, we are different. We have things like front end, we have things like security management, we have agile business process management, mature areas where we can make selections. In the advanced analytics, machine learning, AI world, right now we jump to bed with a lot of partners, and we do use cases with a lot of partners in order to learn the different aspects of the industry. And also we don't, we are in the beginning now. Some will be winners, some will be losers. We don't know who yet. So we need to shoot widely right now.
So you're basically ready to integrate whatever third party?
Yes. We have our own IoT platform, and that is something that we have built to connect different types of sensors and APIs. But that doesn't, we could use other IoT platforms if it makes more sense.
Cool. Thank you. Any more questions? I feel like I'm at an auction sometimes. One thing I had is that, you mentioned that data is the core of whatever it is that you do. Does that mean that companies that can apply to the incubator, they must be data specific, or can they also be like providing services around a specific area?
I think two way of looking at it. They can provide services around. Of course, no business is only data. Data is kind of an enabler. So that's why I say that we have things like agile BPM, front end, mobility. All of that needs to also be, in the solutions in order for it to make sense. So absolutely, that is relevant. And then I think a second, if you look at our own software, so we have credit card management for Barclays and Bank of New York. But the cool thing is now to understand, what if I added advanced analytics to that? What if I added advanced analytics to our mill management software in the forest industry? Then all of a sudden it might become a data-driven business, because this is where the differentiation is, and this is where we can make a competitive difference. So I think very often look at your business idea or your business model and see what would happen if I would have the resources and apply artificial intelligence and machine learning into my business models and my products.